Welcome back. This is Toogeekytocare, guys, the podcast where we just talk about a whole bunch of geeky stuff. And today is a little different than usual. It's the second time we have a special guest, and I'm quite excited because I had absolutely no time to do any research on this topic we're doing, but I am really excited, and I'm pretty sure everyone is as well. My name is Bajo Zutsu. You guys can call me AJ. Everybody else, do your plugins.
Hello, I am Tark201.
Gathane G1129.
And I'm Bushido X Wolf.
And I'm KPCZombie.
And as you guys see, we got a new phase. That's Zombie. He's attached to this topic. I'm gonna let my hair go. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, so we do have a special guest
The main.
tonight. We do have a special guest tonight. His name is KPCZombie. First off, how are you doing tonight, Zombie?
I'm pretty good. Your hair is kind of freaking me out right now, but
Oh yes.
besides that, I'm doing pretty good.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, great.
And
Hi.
today's topic, guys, it's speed running. What the hell is speed running? Right? That's the question a lot of people are probably asking. Why is the title speed running? And well, since we got a KPC Zombie here, he's our guest. Of course, it attaches to him. So, Zombie, in your definition, what is speed running?
Speedrunning, basically just beating a video game as fast as you can.
Okay,
That's like the basic definition of speedrunning, I think.
that is a fair. That's a very fair.
It is,
definition.
Nice quick
and-
summary.
Yeah, and that's funny because usually when I think of speedrunning, that's the first thing that comes into my mind as well. Like all the how you do it, that's, to each their own. But for me, whenever I hear speed running, I just think, oh yeah, somebody just going like flying through a video game ASAP and all that. And so another thing that we forgot to mention was that Zombie, our special guest tonight, you are actually a speed runner yourself. Is this true?
Yes, I am. I speedrun Bioshock 1, original version, not the remastered. I have the world record for any percent, which is like anything goes. And then I also have world record for glitchless, hard, and another category. That's kind of random.
Nice. Do you speedrun anything else?
Yeah, but like not very good. I know the Portal game. I know Halo Reach. I know Halo 2.
Okay,
I'm not very good at them though.
fair enough. I mean, at least you got the world record for something.
Yeah.
How many people can say that?
At least you have that bragging right. See,
Yeah.
the only game I've speedrun is Metal Gear Solid 1, and the fastest time I beat it on normal was like 3 hours and like 30 something minutes. And I was like, this was back when like my cousins and everyone would be playing it, and I'm just like, yeah, screw you guys, I beat it the fastest. And it's just like, yeah. So the next question I'd like to ask is, why do you like playing games and speedrunning it?
I guess for me, I'm not the biggest fan of like PvP. I really hate it in like games where like I do my part and then my teammates just suck and we lose because like I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So in general, I like single player games more, and I don't know. I found speedrunning, tried it, and then I thought it was really fun, so I just kept going. Then I got really good at Bioshock.
I think it could also root from like as a hobby as well, because another thing that I wanted to ask everybody actually would be about like what is all of ours like first interaction with speedrunning? Have we done it before? Have we seen it happen before? Like, have you ever beaten a video game as fast as you can just for the sake of doing it? Or maybe the game tells you to so you can get this bonus or this secret or anything like that? Has anybody had like this experience or anything? So what was your everybody's here, first experience with speedrunning, whether it be watching it or doing it? What happened?
I think
guess-
AJ's trying to tell us something.
What
What is it, boy? What are you trying to tell us? What are you
Woof, woof,
is Timmy
woof,
stuck in a well?
Woof woof. But there's a reason why I'm wearing the shirt. And the original Mario, I remember watching a long time ago. this guy literally play it, and I think he's a current holder. I think he beat in like how much it was like ridiculous. I think it was like under a minute. And Super Mario, the first one, Super Mario Bros, the first one. I remember watching that dude play it, broke the record, and he was just like, boom, and walked away. I was like, I want to.
What's his name right now? Because the world record's like 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Oh, I don't even remember. It's probably 5 minutes without any of the because you can like do the warp and completely skip like worlds and stuff. But this dude beat it in like under a minute without the warps. I mean with the warps. So I was like, whoa, I want to see how fast I could beat it, and I did the whole warp thing. And I sucked at Mario. But then like it became that, and then we started like I started like going against my cousins in different games, which is cool now because if you guys play Resident Evil, like all the remastered versions, they have your time online, and it'll tell you how fast you beat it. And I think that's pretty cool because like you see a lot of people now speed run Resident Evil, try to break the times.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. When I was playing on the original PlayStation, I would remember watching my cousin. He's like, "Yeah, look how fast I beat it." Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay." And then I'd beat it in a faster time, be like, "Yeah, what up?" And then he'd be like, "Yeah, but I beat it in this difficulty." I'm like, "I beat it faster in that difficulty." Boom. So it was like all of our like I have a huge family, and we would just all do the same crap, like who would beat it faster. Who would do this and that? And this would even go back to the Super Nintendo days where I would play Turtles in Time by myself, beat it, be like, yeah, look what I did, I beat it this time, and then they would do the same. So like, I like speedrunning because it's the competitive.
Yeah.
You don't even like he said like it's not even PvP, it's you doing it yourself, and it's really cool because everything that you do, it's on you, it's not on anybody else, and so. Just playing those games and try to beat it as fast as anybody else. It's a cool concept because it challenges you to try and, it pushes you to try and beat your own time as well, and as well as everyone else's time. So I like that aspect of speedrunning.
Yeah.
Why is everyone quiet? Come on.
God, what was your first?
I was listening. See, for me, I've always been more of a casual player. I've never really cared about like time-wise and completions when it comes to games. I've always been one of those people who took my very sweet time finishing a game. I enjoyed every little aspect of a game, so I don't tend to rush through anything. So me personally, I've never speedrun any sort of game, but I have recently heard of speedrunning, and it was through my stream actually. Like one of the people in my stream that I play Left 4 Dead 2 with, one day she hopped on Left 4 Dead 2 with me, and as soon as we entered the game, shoom, she's just gone. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's a good way to get yourself killed. And she's like, oh, I've been watching a lot of, like, speedrunners, and, I've been getting really, really into it. And I was like, what the hell is speedrunning? So she starts explaining to me what speedrunning is, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, then have fun with that.
I've actually...
And I was like, I would sit there and just, like, watch her, like, do all these different things, like, all these different tactics of trying to speedrun it on Left 4 Dead 2, because as some of you may know, with Left 4 Dead 2, there's a lot of obstacles in your way when you're playing that game, not just the Horde, but like the Special Infected. So she had found different ways by watching other streamers of how to avoid certain situations. So when she would like make it into the safe room so quickly, I would be like, "Holy crap! How the hell did you do that? Like, like did you just like hack the system? What is happening? Like, how did you get there so quickly? You know?" But yeah, she did explain it to me, the whole speedrunning stuff. And then she also told me about that there's a speedrunning pretty much community, and I was like, wow, I did not know this at all. And so yeah, so it got me more and more curious about just speedrunning in general, because I never knew like that was a thing for people.
Mm.
So for me personally, even though I haven't experienced it, I know other people who have or do speedruns, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
What about you, Tark?
Yeah.
Well, personally, for me, my first interaction with it was actually doing it. I was playing Resident Evil 2 back in the day when I was a child, and I remember I had the strategy guide, and it said something about, oh, if you beat it like in under so and so hours, you get infinite rocket launcher or another weapon or something like that, or a bonus. And I was like, oh, I guess I gotta try to do it. And then after I did it, it started to become, it just rooted as a little bit of a hobby of mine, where I said to myself, you know what, after I play it casually, I want to see how fast I can do it, not only to see if there are any bonuses or whatnot, but also it's just fun, just trying to get from point A to point B as fast as you can and all that. And so I think that's how it rooted for me. But I did not know until 2011 where I had no idea it was such a huge, a lot more bigger. It was much more bigger than I thought. Like, I did not know how big the cult following was, and I did not know how big the community was until that year. And then I started to watch and attend a few like charity speedrunning events, and I had no idea what they were, and they were always exciting to watch. But we'll get more into that later on during this topic. But basically, my first interaction with it was I did it myself as a way to like get some extras in a video game, and then next thing you know, I started to like it. It became a hobby of mine.
Now, for those who never played Metal Gear Solid, if you beat Metal Gear Solid, right, you get a ranking, and depending on how fast you beat it and how stealthy you beat it,
Mm-hmm.
you get ranked, and it ranks you on the on the reptile system, right, or and like animal system. If you are really like you're like the worst non-stealthy person in the world, you'll get like crocodiles, alligators, and like stuff like that. But if you were like like less like vicious in the game, you'd start getting like lizards and like stuff like that until you got snake. If you got a snake, you were like legit like boss, and you didn't do anything wrong, and you did everything as well as you could. I've gotten snake plenty of times. That was me on Metal Gear Solid, and I kept progressing and kept playing it until I got snake, and I realized I kept beating the game faster and faster, and that was like another way for me to speedrun the game, because I already knew the intricacies. I knew the like the levels, the maps, what I had to do and stuff. And that's where I'm gonna ask Zombie later on. Like, I'm gonna ask you. Don't worry. So the last person, Brandon over there. What about
What's
you?
up?
You ever dabbed into speedrun?
Probably. I mean, I've tried to play through certain games quickly. It's usually like team-oriented games. So, like in co-op games and stuff like that, we'll try to play through them quickly to get better at coordinating or to get better at doing what we do in games, especially games that require more tactics.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like Goth was saying before, I usually try to enjoy a game. I'll try to try to go around and collect whatever collectibles I could find and explore everything that's worth exploring, stuff like that. So, like for RPGs, rather than being the guy who beats it in 2 hours, I'll be the guy who beats it in 230 hours, like I did with Dragon Quest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like Or like instead of the people who beat the newest Pokemon game in like 3 or 4 hours, I'm gonna be the one who beats it after 80 hours, and I will get every dollar worth of money I spend on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
true.
At least that's the way I feel about it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny because a lot of us, when we play video games first, like the first time we play it, even if our intention to play it could be like to speed run it sooner or later and all that, because I remember talking to Zombie about this not too long ago, where we were mentioning how now Resident Evil 7, out of nowhere, even though this game was released this year, it's all of a sudden one of the most popular video games to speed run today, out of the numerous of video games we can speed run. But the funny thing is that it's just interesting to see how, even though if a lot of people were like, okay, so when this game comes out, I'm going to speed run it sooner or later, you still had to like kind of play it casually first off, so you can kind of know what the deal is, what the mechanics are, and strategize how you're going to like go through it and all that. But I think that's how it, personally for me, because I want to dive into the next question about where we think it kind of rooted from. Me, I think it started off as what Zombie said, and what, from my personal experience, it rooted as like something where it was something to enjoy. It was something where we do it, and then after we beat it, we want to play it again and again because we like it so much. And then we say, oh, well, how many times can we, like, you know, beat it? And how fast can we do it? And then it turned into, all of a sudden, this little thing where everybody just, well, not really everybody, but it gathered a huge cult following, and then look at it now. And so personally for me, I think that's how it originated from.
okay, so Tark has questions. I have questions as well. While I'm
Okay.
munching on my Doritos.
Are they Dorito related questions?
Uh,
Cool.
maybe.
That's
You
the
have to at
answer.
least ask one Dorito-related question.
No, okay. No, it has to be food related. When you speed run, what are you munching on, man?
That's actually pretty. Or are you too
Gummy
busy
worms.
speedrunning that you don't?
You don't even eat.
He consumes the flames of victory. That's what he does.
Just chugs his energy drinks. Just that's it. A boost.
Alright, no, but on a
Uh-uh.
serious note, okay, so when you're, okay, for example, you speed run Bioshock.
Yeah.
What do you look for when you're playing the game? Because of course, like Tark said, you play it casually, but then when you start playing it competitively, like to speedrunning, what do you look for? Like, is there things that you personally look for in order to help you beat a game faster?
You mean like if I'm doing a casual playthrough?
Or even in a speedrun game through, like you'll find something. I'm pretty sure you'll find something. You'll be like, ooh, oh, this helps me. Like this shaves off, let's say, like 2 minutes time in my gameplay.
Oh,
like what?
he's talking about finding like exploits and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Yeah, like when you're just playing it just to see to re-strategize. Like you already have a strategy and you're just playing it by yourself just to like examine everything and see like, okay, so maybe when I get here, instead of doing option A to do it as fast as I can do option B. So I think what AJ is asking is what do you look for and how do you usually do it?
Okay, so yeah, so Bioshock, when I got to it, the game was already pretty optimized. Pretty much everyone figured out, do this is pretty much the fastest way to do everything. I did change up a little bit when I like was learning the game and like was bad at the game. There's this one trick you do in Bioshock where you put an item underneath you, jump, and then use telekinesis, and the item like flings you through the air. You go really high, and everything changes based on like what item you use. So everyone was like, oh, use this item for this. I'd be like, well, I like to use this item better, so I use this item. And like the game was already pretty optimized by the time I got to it, so I pretty much didn't really have an opportunity to add too much to it.
I mean, how old is Bioshock? Like,
for those
2008.
games, when doing stuff like that, it's all about like unit collision and how collision's programmed with certain items, how each item has like different surface. So like certain programs and certain games, stuff like that, they have like a different surface, so they impact you differently depending on the angle they impact you. They can send you flying in a different direction. So if you know how to fling a certain item, you can send yourself catapulting over things instead. And with games like that where you can like remotely pull stuff to you, it's easy to find exploits like that. And then that's like one of the most popular things to do. Or if you could stand on an item and then push it, it'll hit the floor and then push back at you and usually send somebody flying. Or if you jump off of an item that's stuck underneath you, you'll have like all kinds of weird collision and particle effects and it'll just freak out. Or it could be like Oblivion, where you try to drop a paintbrush and there's no gravity that affect. Just for some apparent reason, there was no gravity on paintbrushes, so when you drop them, they would just hang in the air. So if you could just generate or steal enough paintbrushes right after the tutorial area, you could walk up to the area you have to go to, drop a paintbrush, jump on it, and just keep doing that over and over again until you get to the spot where the end of the game is, and it's programmed that once you're able to walk through that door, the game is over. You didn't have to do any of the story before it. Once you walk through this particular doorway, you've beaten the game. And that's how people would literally beat it in minutes. With no armor, no weapons, nothing. They're just a pile of paintbrushes. And they win the game. It's just finding little exploits like that, or finding walls that aren't programmed correctly, finding exploits in how stuff like that is programmed. Things like that.
I'm pretty sure. No, go ahead.
Yeah, there's one, to kind of answer your question, there's just one category that I have the record for that's not very popular. And in this category, you've all played Bioshock, you know Arcadia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the any percent speedrun, like the main speedrun, you jump over the trigger that has the what is that stuff that comes down, the poison in the air.
Yeah, basically, I know what you're talking about.
You skip over that, so then you can just leave the level right away. In this one category, you have to play through all of Arcadia and Farmers Market, and because not many people played it, it was very unoptimized. So I went in, I just thought about it, and then I just made a new route that saved like 2 minutes.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, you gotta teach me that sooner or later.
Think outside the box.
Yeah.
Look at that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, when you're playing games, you learn so many. Like, especially Bioshock, I'm pretty sure you find something completely new every time you play it, right?
Well, at this point, I've played hundreds and hundreds of hours. So.
I mean, but I'm talking about like you're a complete student of the game, right? Like you've studied the game, you've known like which route to take, which is the best route, which route gets you to set point at the quickest speed. So, the other question is, what keeps you motivated into continuing to play the same game over and over and over?
I guess for me, when I was like kind of first learning the game, I thought because have you ever seen like a speedrun? You know the little program that records all your times.
Oh yeah.
And you know splits, right?
Yeah.
Like it also records the best you've ever done every level, and it adds up all your golds and tells you the time at the bottom. And when I was like kind of learning the game at first, I thought, wow, this time I just got, it's actually pretty good. I don't know if I'll beat it. I should probably just stop. And then I look at all my golds, I'm like, wow, I can save a lot of time. So then like the best I've ever done the levels, like I kept seeing that, and that just kept motivating me to just play more and more. I'm like, wow, I could really save more time. And I just kept doing that over and over.
And I think another thing that can root from that is just that your love for the video game also just keeps you going. Like I can tell you, and I've told Zombie this in the past, like, oh yeah, and he probably seen it before. I played the original Mirror's Edge like way too many times for like a normal person, but then, you know, as linear of a video game that is, I like it a lot. And then I said, oh, you know what? I feel like I want to speed run it or learn some other strats to it or something like that. And so I think it can just root to like how much you like it, because there is another speedrunner around Twitch. His name is Clint Stevens. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He speedruns The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I personally asked him, well, you know, what is his all-time favorite game, and he was like, oh yeah, this one. I mean, of course, and all that. And so it could just root from just how much we like it and so on. So
I will say though, as far as like taking your favorite game when you were younger and trying to speedrun it, if you're gonna go for like a really optimal like top time, I wouldn't actually do your favorite game of all time, because then you start like hating it, and like the way you see the
Yeah.
game actually changes, and it will like
Yep.
obscure your vision of how you used to view it.
Oh no.
I can see that.
So now you made me ask you a new question. What's your
Okay.
favorite video game of all time?
Of all time, I don't know.
It's obviously Bioshock, man. Why are you asking?
Because he says you can't play your favorite game of all time because you're gonna hate it. So if it's Bioshock, he's probably hated it already.
I mean, like,
look at
has,
it now, but
has
look at
that
it now.
ruined one of your favorite games?
I played it so much that I think like after hundreds of hours, you start to like it again. I don't know.
Oh, so
Like,
this is
There was a
different from
time
what
in which you
told me
hated
months
it, and then you were
ago.
just like, okay, I like it again.
Yeah. Well, it's gotten to a point where I stop hating it. Like I know everything about it that I hate.
Exactly. I get you there.
But yeah, as far as my favorite game, I don't really have like one favorite game
It's
that
hard.
like sit like or above all the others. Like I don't know.
Mm.
All right, you can do a top 5. Go ahead.
Top 5. I have to answer this question. I'm not getting out of it.
It's me, dude. I'm gonna be
He's not
persistent.
gonna let you out of it.
No.
Call of Duty Zombies. Actually, that's why I put zombie in my name. I love Call of Duty Zombies. Just
Fair enough.
playing it with
is.
with my friends, all the new maps that came out. I was really good at it. I really love Call of Duty Zombies.
I mean, there's people who buy Call of Duty just for the zombies, so
that's
I
right,
can get
that's
you
right.
there. I have
See,
done
like,
that myself.
Same here.
I hate the Call of Duty franchise. But the zombies is probably their best thing going.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why don't you just make a standalone zombies game?
Yes, I've been thinking that for
They
so
could.
long.
They totally could.
But-
Because then their actual games wouldn't sell.
That is absolutely true.
Because then they lose like just half of the money they would normally make on their regular Call of Duty games.
would only buy the zombies
Sure.
one, and that's it.
You are
And then
absolutely
they'd actually have to create more content for the zombies game. Because the zombies game wouldn't just be a mini game or a part of the normal or full
It
game.
can't just be a little bonus to the game.
Mm.
Otherwise, they'd
So-
have to just basically be like Left 4 Dead, where they're just like, hey, we have a couple of different levels you could play through.
Yeah,
We'll
they
keep
would have
adding
to
on
do
levels
both
and so
at
on.
that
Yeah.
point.
All right. Come back to the question.
Um, I wouldn't say I hate to put this. I really hate to put this in my favorite games, but I love and hate League of Legends.
Oh yeah, same here.
I've,
It's
I
the
think
League of
that's every
League of
League
Salt.
fan.
yeah, I've
It's the
played
League
it
of
so
Salt.
much.
I
League of
swear
Salt.
that
It
is
to
like
League-
every League fan's like just explanation of the game. I love it, hate it.
So who's your
I've
favorite
never
champion?
heard one person who's just like, I love it. That's it. No, I love
Probably. I play mid. Probably Zed or Varus. I play a lot of
Zed or
Varus
Varus.
mid. I like that.
I am the person that everyone else in the game usually hates, like the enemy team, and it's not because I'm terribly good. I mean, if I wanted to be, I could be, but I stopped trying to be. I just love aggravating other people so much, though. So
Play
I
Shaco?
always no. Well, yeah, sometimes actually. It's I would play Shaco a lot, but it stopped being fun when they updated his ultimate so that it turns to boxes. Now I just play Fiddlesticks and Teemo.
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah.
Supporter. I
Uh,
see that a lot.
all over the place. Yeah, actually, I started doing that last season, and everybody was like, "This is never gonna catch on." And then I picked it for this season. People were like, "Yeah, that's the new cool thing." I was like, "I've been doing this for 2 years now."
it. Wow.
Look at Brandon starting trends over there, man.
Because it's the most aggravating thing to think about. You have a buddy who's always with you. Now, if that buddy is always with you, you're always suffering more. And it's just like, I'm gonna hide behind the crowd of minions. Nope, the crowd of minions lets me chain to you more easily. Like, everything that would normally be your instinct to do, like hide behind this crowd of minions, stick close to your teammate, you know, when your enemy's on the defensive, run at them. Now you're just doing the opposite because of Fiddlesticks. And that's why I enjoy it. I force people to just completely change what's typical about their way of playing and just aggravate them.
All right, back to the question.
We got it.
Real quick.
Oh, did you want to say something, Tark?
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Back to the question, real quick.
So Call of Duty, League, I guess BioShock is up there. I do really like the game.
Mm-hmm.
What other games? I don't even know.
You like Halo 3, don't you?
Oh yeah, I love Halo. Just the Halo series. Reach is my favorite. I know it's unpopular decision.
ODST is my favorite, so
Oh,
that's even more unpopular.
I
That's-
feel your pain. I feel
Yeah,
your pain.
it's even more unpopular because you took away all the superpowers. You're just a person. And then you realize how big the brutes are, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's right, they're supposed to be 8 feet tall.
Yeah, I feel your pain. Liking that game.
Yeah.
I was in Halo 2 competitive for a bit, and then Halo 3 until I got banned, and I was like, I'm never playing
So-
Halo 3 again.
So have you tried speeding through any of the Halo games?
Huh?
What was that?
Have you tried speed playing through any of the Halo games?
He said Reach.
Yeah, I know the Halo Reach speedrun, and I know the Halo 2 speedrun. 2 is like the most popular one
2
by
is
far.
It is,
yeah, because
it
2
is.
is a lot of
Just 'cause all
fun.
the
Like even
sword
I've
tricks.
done it. Yeah, even I've done it. It's a lot of fun. But I'll always stop and then take time to admire the really weird side stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the main game in any way whatsoever.
I would try and find all the skulls on Halo 2 and 3, I guess. I think that was the thing, right? Finding all the skulls on Halo 2 and 3. So that was one of the things that I like doing on Halo 2 and 3. I never sped run it though. Like I remember I was trying to beat it on Legendary. I actually did. Just like that was an accomplishment for me. So I was like, I beat it by myself in Legendary. Eat that.
Lasso.
Oh, and he said Halo, BioShock, League. What was the other one?
Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah. Okay, and the last one?
I don't even know.
All right.
I have to like think about it.
Fair enough. Okay, so
Let's go
Alright,
top
so-
four. Top four.
All right,
Okay,
sounds
so-
good.
so-
So
so-
jumping back to topic now, I also find it interesting how when it comes to speedrunning, it actually like rooted for I think the early or the no, not the early, excuse me, the late 80s. It's actually really interesting because it's interesting to see how something like this one aspect of gaming just reached out and inspired other game mechanics, and not only game mechanics but also video games in general. And so what I'm specifically talking about is, believe it or not, I don't know if you guys know this, but the character and the gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog actually originated from how many times one of the lead creators of Sonic the Hedgehog, he had to play Super Mario Brothers, the original one, multiple times, and he's trying to beat it as fast as he can so he can try to study it, because we all know Sonic the Hedgehog, the original one, was heavily inspired by Super Mario Brothers, and so when trying to learn from it, he had to play through the first level over and over and over again, and he's trying to beat the game essentially as fast as he can, and then he was like, wait a minute, why don't we just make a video game based off of speed? And then Sonic the Hedgehog came into
And
play.
it's funny because like if you talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, there's no, well, at least the classic ones, the newer ones have more RPG elements to them and stuff. But the older ones, like if you're speed running it, you're playing the game correctly. That's just it. Like there's no oh, I'm gonna speed run Sonic. You're playing the game correctly. You're not doing anything. It's not anything unique or special. No offense to the people who speedrun Sonic, but you're playing the game correctly. I would play it. Yeah.
I used to speedrun Sonic.
Oh man, there were so many weird things. Sometimes like some of those, I think some of the glitches, or at least what people thought were glitches, were just things they put in there. They're like, nobody will ever be able to reach it. Somebody reached it, and they're just like, what do we tell them that we put it in there because we thought no one would reach it? No, let them think it's a bug. Yeah, let them think it's a bug. You know, like, they'll just do ridiculous stuff like that, and that's what I love about game developers, where they're just like, let's leave something right there. No one will have to worry about it, or oh, what's the odds of somebody finding that? Like, oh man, there was one thing in Halo, for example, where you could like go over one of the invisible walls in the game and stuff like that. Or like if you fall into the ocean far enough, you'll start seeing other objects that are down at the bottom of the ocean,
Oh
things like that.
yeah, there was
So
one in Halo 1 where it was a speed running trick. Yeah, it was a speed running trick where you can jump on the Pelican, which is like the
the
shuttlecraft, and
airship,
actually
yeah.
jump over the wall, and then you find like a one soldier just standing there, and he will talk to you and all that stuff. And then, so it's just great, just seeing how developers, like you said, Bushido, how like they are aware of the speedrunning community, and they deliberately make all these little quirks and intentional glitches specifically for the speedrunning community.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually pretty evident in the re-release of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the 3DS. Like when they re-released it, in an interview, the developers actually said they left glitches in there intentionally from the previous N64 title.
Yeah.
Intentionally. It's
Because
actually
it
really
makes it
surprising.
makes it more fun for most people. Like they'll find the glitches and they'll just be like, "That's hilarious," stuff like that. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it's great. I think it's fun when they leave stuff like that in there when they think it's funny. But then for a lot of these people, like I'm trying to think what games do this, but there's a lot of games where they think like, okay, we don't have to worry about it. No one will figure this out, or they forget to make a wall. So you see it, it's a wall.
Walls are
It's
just
there.
suggestions.
Yeah. Well, especially in video games, and especially if you're a speedrunner, walls are a suggestion. If you know how to walk at a wall, in a lot of games, a wall is literally just a suggestion. You can just walk straight through it. The problem is, on the other side, there might not necessarily be a floor, because floors are also suggestions. So it's all about how you approach things.
Yeah, another company that's actually like really aware of speedrunning and like tricks for that is Bungie actually.
Oh yeah.
And maybe 343. I know when the Master Chief Collection came out, they actually named achievements, like the speed achievements after the world record holders. Like,
yeah, that's 343 though.
Yeah, 343.
Yeah.
Like the record for 2, like beating it quickly, is called Monopolized, and the runner is Mr. Monopoly. So like I think that's really
Nice.
cool how they do that.
And that is so respectful, just putting the gamers in the game themselves. You know what I mean? That's so cool. I love that.
That's dope. See, like with me, like I've been seeing, I've seen many speedrunners play, and one of the things that they like to do is like for example, when they're playing platformers, I don't know if you guys have seen it, they have a camera showing their hand gestures or like how they position their hands and stuff when they're playing those games. I don't know if you guys have seen those speedrunners.
I have
Yes.
seen stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things that I like watching, and that was going to lead to my next question. Like when it comes to comfortability, what do you delve into when you speedrun a game? Like when it comes to like how comfortable do you have to get in order to speedrun a game?
Comfortable in what way?
Positioning.
How do you hold
hand-
your controller or
Yes.
your keyboard and mouse, whatever the case might be?
Okay, so for BioShock, I do it keyboard mouse. Pretty normal setup. I just how you think you'd play any other video game. Halo.
Unless you're gonna keytar the keyboard, there's like no real other way to use a keyboard.
Yeah, I don't do that.
It's one of those things that's just not gonna work. But you know what's cool actually is there's a lot of streaming programs now that what they've done is it's with streamers in mind and stuff like that. They have a section where you can actually show a virtual keyboard and mouse, and it shows how you're moving around and stuff like that. So people
Yeah,
want
your
to see,
inputs.
yeah, if people want to see your inputs and see how you're doing stuff, and if you hotkey certain things, you can actually show all that.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
some people who do use shortcuts, like they'll get a specific kind of mouse.
Yeah, they'll
No,
use macros and stuff like that, or if you're me, you get a programmable MMO mouse, like this guy. So you have 12 keys you can sit through, actually 14,
Yeah.
14 keys you can
Mhm.
program.
Stuff like that. That make it a little easier for them when they
Yeah.
actually play the game.
Yeah, so
Nope.
like those are things that I look at when I see people speedrunning. Like they show like how like fast they press buttons, and it's really unique because a lot of these speedrunners, they have really fast reflexes, and that's one of the things that I've seen, which I like enjoying it because like it's not only in like the ones I watch most is platformers. Don't get me wrong, because I just love watching platformer games. I saw this one dude speedrun Super Metroid, and that was fun. And but all the things he did, like button pressing and the way he positioned himself, and all those things are really really unique. Like just the little things, they'll take some of the time off of your run. Like let's say you get thirsty and you sip water, that deduces your timing because you're not doing everything that you're supposed to be fully effectively, because again you're doing something else. And so how much do you limit yourself from like outside activity when it comes to speedrunning?
I'll answer that in a second. One other thing though, you kind of like I thought of, if there's like a really like weird part where you have to hit this weird key, I will like completely just move my hand into like a random position so I can hit like these awkward like keys in like quick succession.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And controller, every now and then I'll just play claw randomly for like 20 minutes and then go back to normal. It's so random.
No,
So-
That's interesting.
it's all interesting because like again, there's so much going into speedrunning. Another like the other question I was asking, how much do you limit yourself in outside activity? Like let's say, darn it, I need to go to the bathroom.
A
Do you
lot of
prepare
ga-
yourself like you're like, wait, let me go to the bathroom before I start this game?
I
lot
mean,
of-
it's like a movie, right? When you go to the cinemas, I mean, you would just prepare yourself to
yeah, you
stay
would've
seated
prepared
for like an
yourself
hour and a
and-
half.
Tark, hold on. A legit question: do you sit in the cinema the whole time if you have to go use the bathroom?
Yeah, like
I do.
the like,
I do.
like, of course. Like,
What if the
every-
movie's like a 2.5 hour movie?
I don't
I-
move. I don't.
I
Move.
don't like to miss anything.
I'm sorry.
I'll go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
I won't.
I'm not
Like,
I'm not sitting
I'll-
there for an hour.
I'll have a
seen-
good
I'll
sense of
wait
when the
till I
movie
go
hits a
before.
slow part, and that's when I'll try to make my run, and
Oh
I'll like
my
run it out.
gosh. I don't move a muscle because I don't eat when I'm watching a film. I don't eat anything. I just stay
Oh no,
focused
you
on-
gotta see me. I have a bucket of soda, and I'll drink like the entirety of it before the movie starts, and I'll go out like 4 or 5 more times, and I'll have like
And
5
refill it?
buckets of soda. Yeah. So you know that large soda that costs you like $7? I'll drink $20 worth of soda before I leave the
I don't know
building.
why you would do that. But
Because
I'm
no one
assuming.
should have to get up during the movie.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
assuming for speedrunning, it's the same thing because I went to. I was actually part of a charity speedrun for my university at the time, and same thing. My speed run took about an hour and maybe 20 minutes or something like that, and I had to make sure like I really could sit down. I couldn't move anything, and to answer your question, Abaja Zutsu, about just how do you limit yourself? It's like. When I'm speedrunning, same thing. I kind of treat it as if it was like the AGDQs, SGDQs, which we'll get more into in a minute, where basically like I'm commenting and everything else around me just kind of like it's not really there. It's there, but I'm more focused on here, which is interesting because even if you were to find speedrunners here on Twitch, let's be honest now. When you find speedrunners on Twitch, when you type in a message and all that, sometimes they'll reply back, sometimes they won't. Zombie is one of those ones that will reply back. Thank you, my friend.
I really I know my game very well. If I can like just hold forward and look at chat, I will.
Yeah,
But
that makes
to,
sense.
yeah, to kind of answer your question, a lot of games have just like an auto scroller, like you have to watch a long cutscene and bathroom breaks. This is the
That-
bathroom break of
That is
this.
a
it.
smart
That's
idea.
That's a phrase.
My
Especially
my
if you've
friend
already played the game.
My friend has gotten it down to because we used to play zombies and we used to play online multiplayer a lot for Call of Duty. He got it
Mhm.
down to him being able to run to the bathroom, use the bathroom, and get back within the 1 minute and 30 seconds it would take for a party to form, and then for the queue to start for the game, for the loading screen to start up, and for him to get back
Oh,
into the
wow.
game like 2 seconds into the game starting. I'm just like, that is
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Yeah, he'd have to like run across his house too. When I got to his house, I'm like, how do you do this? Do you just like pee in a bucket? He goes, no, I run all the way across the
He's
building.
speed running in real life.
Oh yeah.
He's just
Oh.
he's actively speedrunning. He's doing everything on speedrun mode.
Oh man,
Everything
it's
speed
imprinted.
run.
So, like, besides those things, there's other things that I've noticed on speedruns as well, and this is where I start asking you more in-game speedrunning questions. Like, one thing I've noticed with a lot of the speedrunners, they change the language to something that they can't absolutely read. Right? Do you do the same thing?
I do not for my game. The reason that they do that is because dialogue is faster, and
Yes.
if you have to wait for dialogue for a certain part, and the dialogue's faster, usually it's Japanese. You switch it to
lose time.
Japanese, and you just save time because you
Yeah.
save like 15 seconds throughout the run
That's amazing.
because the
I didn't know
dialogue
it
is
was a thing.
faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like little small English text fills up the screen a whole, and it requires a lot more filling up the screen compared to gigantic like characters. That means
Yeah.
that basically can give off a similar meaning
Oh.
and all that. Yeah,
Shortcut
yeah.
something.
Some games are as simple as like you go into the settings and change the language. I know for
Nope. It
Oh.
just dropped.
Oh.
Hopefully he'll be back.
just keep going. Or?
Yeah,
keep
we can
going.
keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So some games you just change the language. Some games like Halo 2, for example, people will go so far, buy a Japanese version of the game, and then play the Japanese version.
Oh, hold on one second.
Oh.
He completely dropped out the call and it
God
warped
damn it.
out Skype. Give me 1 second, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me
Yeah.
try to figure this out real quick.
Whoa! But
This
you
was
can
totally
still,
not planned for.
Oh,
Yeah.
turned around.
but you can still hear it though, right?
Yeah, everyone can still hear you guys. Give me 1
So,
sec.
So yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Like some games, like Xbox games and stuff, you don't have the option, especially kind of older games. You don't have the option to change the language, so people actually like buy a Japanese version of the
I
game.
know. I've actually been there when it came to Kingdom Hearts. Like I did that myself. And so
Oh, is he
I'm
back
sorry.
in now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was terrible.
It's really random.
What happened there?
I have no idea.
It's okay, we'll figure
No
that out
clue.
later.
anyway, we're back. So now I actually want to dive into something that I've been looking forward to talking about is the community, the speedrunning community, because I still to this day find it so interesting that each and every single year it feels like the speedrunning community just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and so many people get into it, and it's not just a Western thing. I've seen speedrunners from Europe. I've seen speedrunners from Japan. It's ridiculous, and I'm trying to figure out like where did it come from, because it is so interesting. I honestly thought it was just like something that us crazy Americans were just so bored, and we just figured out, hey, why don't we just try to beat this as fast as we can?
I know speedrunners from England, Germany. I know one from Japan. Like they're everywhere.
Yeah, and so that's still just it's always such an amazement for me. And another thing that's even more of amazement for me is I know me and Zombie are familiar, but is anybody else here familiar with Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick?
Yeah, I've watched games done quick many a times, and I love watching their speedruns. It's really cool, and it's not only just one person; it's various people doing it. So
Oh, yeah.
that's so fun.
It's always fun, and it's great to see like how once again I can't stop gushing at how many people are out there that can just easily, not really easily, but they're able to just break down and dissect these video games and just beat it as fast as they can, to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you could have done that in Super Mario RPG, or I had no idea that someone even had the time to find something like this in your favorite video game or something like that. Like, who was supposed to find out about that? It was very interesting. And so one of the things that always gets me when it comes to these charities events and these streaming events that happen, like AGDQ and SGDQ, is how many people actually also donate as well, because there are like the donations going on for like the cancer research and basically research in general for all these different, health issues that are going on in our world. And it's always such an amazement at how much money they gathered and all that. And so
I mean, the majority of the when they like games done quick, it's all charity, and it's really cool. Like that's when like I appreciate that stuff, because they do charity work, and they like all the donations go to like charity and funds and stuff. It's really cool, and like I can appreciate stuff like that because it's, again, you can tell that the people playing are having fun, and they know that all these things are going for a good cause. And I love watching that. When you can do something that you enjoy doing for a great cause, that's always a fun thing to, in my opinion. Especially when it comes to like gaming, I love that. And so I love that channel itself. Like when I do sit down and start watching like games done quick, they did one of my favorite games that I actually used to speedrun myself, which was Donkey Kong Country.
Nice.
And even then, watching like a professional speedrunner play it, you just learn like the little things like you've never seen before. Like, oh, you could do this. That's so cool. Like, and I've played Donkey Kong Country so many years, and just like every time I play it, I just pick it up and just like, yeah, just mash out again. And it's always fun watching someone do it, knowing that you have put yourself in that position, and you see them doing it quicker than what you did it. So it's like, oh man, that's pretty fun.
So
correct. Yeah. After you, Bushido.
Oh no, I was gonna just kind of trail back to where like a lot of this started from, but if you wanted to go add a quick point before I trail back to that.
Oh yeah, so quick point. I just wanted to make it clear that Zombie, you actually had a shout out at one of these charity events, right?
Yeah, funny story. In BioShock, there's this trick. You get Electrobolt for the first time, you inject yourself with drugs, you watch a big cutscene. There's a way to skip that, and that's been around forever. But when I joined, the trick used to be frame perfect. I found a way to make it 100% consistent. So when he was doing it, he said, shout out to, first of all, I found this by myself. And he said, shout out to KCP and Jamaican Bacon for finding this. I'm just
man.
like, come on, man.
Damn.
I did all this, not even getting credit for it.
Oh my god.
Hey, we all we know
You
it's you. We know it's
You were
you.
probably like, damn, this KCP guy, he's taking my thunder.
Yeah, someone actually, that was a meme for a while, and somebody actually, he still calls me KCP.
That's
wow.
great.
Yeah,
That's
it's funny.
great.
Yeah,
Well,
and
KC is a name of a man and a woman, of a person. It could be, KC, you know what I mean?
yeah,
No.
yeah, the last, really quick, the last AGDQ, I don't know if you guys saw, raised over $2 million.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
That's impressive.
They smashed their previous record.
Yes, and the funny thing is, I think like a lot of those big donations, because we have an anonymous donation for I think the biggest one I've seen was like 6,000, maybe more than that, and then I was like, that has to be a celebrity somewhere. Why is it anonymous? It could have been, I don't know, Christina Aguilera for some.
A lot of celebrities sit around and watch Twitch or play on Twitch. It's really.
Oh, hey, yeah.
I thought it was when I at first when I thought about it, I was like, I can see a handful of them doing it, but like a lot of them are huge gamers, and it's really funny and really weird. Like I even have a lot of my professors and stuff like that. I know that they're not celebrities or anything, but it's really funny because like when I used to think like, oh man, when I think of gamers, I just think of like people who you can tell they sit around and all they do is gaming, like they'll wear the graphic tees and everything, but no, there's these guys in like perfect suits and ties and everything. He's like, so you gonna be on Warcraft later today?
Oh wow.
I want to know if you want to play. And it's like one of my professors who's like super jumpy and loves to read books and everything like that, super energetic, and like kind of reminds me of Conan O'Brien, would jump out and go, hey guys, how's it going, and stuff like that. It was a huge advocate of like pulling away from your phone and really just getting into reading and stuff like that. we sat there and we're like, what do you do when you're at home? He's like, oh, you know, when I don't have a good book that I like or anything like that. He would like show us whatever book he's reading to. He's like, oh, when I'm not reading or anything, like it's too dark in my house, I don't feel comfortable reading. I'll pop open my desktop and just start playing some WoW.
Nice.
And like
wow. Ooh, wow.
and
you were like,
there's
wow.
yeah, and there's a lot of like celebrities who do stuff like that. Who I think some of them tried speedrunning, but they're not gonna be able to do it. Like it's just not something they can dedicate the time and effort
really
to.
funny when like I see a celebrity like try to do something like that, and they like grow so impatient. And it's like it's the best thing to see in a celebrity, you know.
So
Yeah,
they'll
they could be
sit.
like-
So
they
what
could
they'll
be like-
do in a lot of cases is they'll sit in the back and just creep in on Twitch channels. So they'll do stuff
yeah.
like that where they're just like, okay, I'll donate like a couple grand. Why not?
Oh wow, wow is right. Yeah, for all we know, like for any one of us, especially for you, Zombie, for you, maybe a really powerful celebrity could be just chilling in this channel with a really weird Twitch name. I don't know.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
Do you guys know how huge of a gamer he is?
Oh yeah, I know.
Like, he's having Main Gear build him a computer. I think it was Main Gear who was trying to build him a computer and stuff like that. No, it was Jay's 2 cents. And it's just turning into this huge. So he had originally like this ridiculously nice custom built machine, and like a year later, it was like what was it? NVIDIA 1080s. And everybody
Oh my
was like,
gosh,
that's
yeah.
ridiculous. Like, what does he need that for? And he uses it for streaming and doing all this stuff. And then he came back, he was like, yeah, that computer's not strong enough. I almost killed it on stream. I need a stronger one now. So they're having
Well,
to build him.
He has
and
the
he-
funds to
yeah,
request it.
He's like, yeah, he's got the money for it, but he's just like, yeah, I don't care how much money it's gonna cost. It needs to happen. So like,
Oh
he's
my God, look
spending
at this
an
guy.
insane amount. It's just absolutely hilarious on his
Wow.
on his machine. So like, you never know. He could sit around on Twitch and he's just like, until my computer's built, I'm just gonna watch you play. Like he's the type of person to do that, or maybe while he's working out, just go ahead and watch a couple of other people play.
I mean,
Yeah.
Pretty
I
awesome.
mean, but you'd be surprised though. A lot of these celebrities, they just lurk around on Twitch, and especially in these channels where they're doing like really cool stuff, like games done quick, like,
Yeah.
and they're looking at these guys playing these games at a really fast pace, and they're probably like, wow, this is so cool, like. This is something new I've never seen. This is intriguing, and they're doing it for a good cause. Now, I was gonna ask another question, but I lost it.
We all know developers.
You'll
Developers
find
are
the
completely
question.
aware.
I will
So-
hopefully find it, but it was definitely something to do with the speedrunning community.
And we all know developers are aware of AGDQ because I remember like when they were speedrunning Mirror's Edge like 2 years ago. I remember there was a $1,000 donation from the Mirror's Edge Catalyst development team, which everybody was like, "Oh wow, that's awesome!" And so I always just I just gush over that. It's amazing.
And, yeah, there's another with the developers. You know the guys who make Castle Crash and all them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forget their names. Dan Paladin and the other guy.
Yeah.
And you know BattleBlock
Tom
Theater?
Fulp,
Yeah, him.
Tom Fulp and Dan Paladin.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know the announcer. I forget his name. Is Shredder, something like that. You know the announcer for BattleBlocks Theater?
Yeah.
What about him?
Those two and him went to an AGDQ or
Personally?
SGDQ. Yeah, in person, and watched the BattleBlock Theater run.
Oh, really?
And it was hilarious because if
That
you know
is
the
amazing.
BattleBlock Theater announcer voice, he was just commenting on stuff the whole time. It was really funny.
That's pretty awesome.
Someone should have just handed him a microphone just the whole time
He
commenting.
had his own.
He
Oh,
walked in
God.
with his own. That's pretty hilarious.
I would have watched that.
Oh
Me,
man, I gotta
I-
find it. I gotta find it
It's-
now.
I love
It's-
those guys from the Behemoth. They're like
Yeah,
really
they're
down to earth people. They're just so fun. Like I remember like when they first started doing things on Newgrounds, I was like, yeah, this shit is awesome. I love watching their stuff. So
They just
yeah,
they took that and they kept going with it. Like every one of their games has like these like little cheesy victory dances and really silly things. Hats. They have this obsession with hats too. It's absolutely hilarious.
Hattie Haddington.
Oh my god! And like, so if you guys ever played Alien Hominid,
Heck
Love
yeah.
it.
so you know there was like you could enter in codes and stuff like that to get unlock certain hats. There was like one code that would let you get a whole bunch of things to it and stuff like that. But like literally the first day, someone found a code, and it was the funniest thing in the world. And
Oh,
it
wow.
was literally just Roy G. Biv, which is the rainbow. So you just
Yeah.
had to type out a rainbow in the thing. Yeah, you had to type out all the colors of the rainbow in the incorrect order, actually, but in the incorrect order, and you would actually unlock a bunch of stuff for the game. And I was just like, these guys are absolutely ridiculous. But some of the hats are just so silly, and the fact that you could just jump around and chomp on things' heads, you could play those games super quick too if you
Yeah.
really wanted
yeah.
to.
Have you seen their new game? It's so awesome. I know it's off
Hit
topic.
people.
Yeah, Pit
I
People.
actually got it. I haven't played too much of it. The music and it's really great.
Yes, it is. So,
Anyway, Bushido, you said you wanted to go back to the.
Oh, yeah, for the origins of what's it
Yeah.
called? There's a lot of this. So I think a lot of it was just people trying to get stuff done faster in certain games that were not meant to be sped run, like games like fighting games, stuff like that. And that's how we ended up getting buffers, like buffer errors, which
Oh, shoot.
a lot of us know as combos. So the original combos were just buffer errors.
Oh, that is yeah. And I was
So-
telling my cousins about this, where the iconic combo that originated from Street Fighter 2, you know, the light attacks, and then we have a medium and then a heavy somewhere in there. That actually happened due to an error, like a mess up that happened in the system. And now it's now known as like, oh, now almost every single 2D fighting game has that mechanic because it's so like,
Combos, combo breakers, stuff
Yeah.
like that, counters. Those none of that was supposed to be like a lot of that stuff wasn't really supposed to be in these games, and they
Yes.
just kind of accidentally stumbled on these things, and they just kept happening. And then it's the same thing with every game. Like people just figured out stuff by accident. Like if you came at certain objects, certain angles, things like throwing objects underneath you, but throwing them upward would make the collision freak out and make it assume that you have to go through the air too. And that's how people end up going soaring through the air. And a whole bunch of ridiculous nonsense.
like Halo 2 Super Jumping.
Yes, exactly. So like they find little things like that, and they just think like, I wonder if this will work, so I can try to do this a little faster, a little more efficiently. Like it starts out with efficiency at first, but then after a while, people are like, I really wonder if I chuck a grenade and jump at the right angle, the explosion will just send me flying or something like that. And then people try, and it just works way better than they think, because the collision is funky at this like certain range, and just it's just absolutely ridiculous.
I found my question.
Yeah.
You found it? Where was it?
Yes. Okay.
It's in your
Good.
pocket.
Good. Okay. So in BioShock, how many categories of speedrunning are there?
Isn't there like
5?
Yeah.
5, and then there's
Usually.
one. What's the category one-handed that only one person does, and like that doesn't count. So 5.
5. Okay. Fair enough. So like, I haven't played BioShock in a while. Like the difficulties, you have to play it through difficulties as well. Like,
There's any percent, which means like as quick as you can. So you'd put it on the lowest difficulty, and then most games is like hard or like whatever the hardest difficulty is. And if your question is like are there like for each difficulty, is that what you're kind of saying, or?
no, like, is there a difficulty speedrun as well? Like on any difficulty?
There aren't there categories where like there's like category for how fast you can beat it in a certain category or something like that.
Hard?
Yeah, because you once mentioned this to me. You were like, "Oh yeah, I once did this for hard mode," and then I remember you told me this one time when I was broadcasting or something like that.
Yeah, there's
or not.
Yeah, there's usually like as far as difficulty, there's the any percent, which is almost always easy, and then there's usually whatever the hardest difficulty is. Those are like the only 2 variants in difficulty for most games.
Okay, fair enough.
Hmm.
Now, I had another question, and now I gotta find it again.
Alright,
While he
cool.
thinks of that, I wanted to ask, what was your favorite exploit from any game?
Any game. Halo 2 sword flying is pretty cool.
I
Yes.
thought so. I thought so. I
It's
had a
pretty
feeling you were going to say that.
Yes, Halo 2 sword flying is ridiculous. It's funny.
It's
Yeah,
funny
the stuff
because
you can do.
It's funny because we have video games like those first-person shooters like BioShock and Halo, where a lot of things, especially when it comes to the enemy AI, a lot of them are not really scripted. A lot of them are, but when it comes to like if you were to mess up or something like that, next thing you know, it's not really scripted. It's trying to be like, you know, its own thing. Because we all know that in the original BioShock, playing it casually, the enemy AI was supposed to be very different than other AI back in the day, where it was supposed to be a lot smarter and it was supposed to be using like the actual engine against you when you think you have complete control over it. And so I always just find it interesting when it comes to like video games like that, where a lot of the things are like kind of scripted and it kind of isn't, and then they're just able to adjust from it. Like for your situation, Goth, like how much you found that one person speedrunning Left 4 Dead 2 in your own game. The funny thing is, where I think a couple years ago at a charity event, I think it was AGDQ, I'm not quite sure, they did a Left 4 Dead 2 speed run through all the Left 4 Dead 2 campaigns, and it was 4 people like working together. And I found that interesting because when it comes to the special infected, none of them are scripted, none of the weapons are scripted, and the locations where everything is, that's not scripted either. So I always just find that interesting how they work that out.
And one thing, as far as that goes, if you play a game enough like I have, like most top runners have, most of the time the AIs will do the same thing, or a lot of times they'll do like a couple set things, and you get to know like this, okay, if they're walking this, they'll do this and this when I go here. And if you played it enough, actually, if you go into a certain spot, oh, I messed this up, this is how these other 5 people are going to react when I mess this specific situation up. Like, you just play it so much, and like you see the same things over and over, you just know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Alright, so now that I found my questions, what are the limits to speedrunning? Like, what can't you speedrun?
Me specifically, or
no, just in general. I know PvP's out of the question. I know you can't speedrun PvP games.
Well, other than that, I think you can technically speedrun anything almost.
Yeah, pretty much anything can be speedrun.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Even trivia games.
Is there something you haven't seen speedrun that you might want to try yourself?
Not really, I think.
You like where you're at right now. You're just
Yeah,
like,
I'm
"No,
comfortable."
I'm comfortable here. This is my home.
Yeah.
I wanna see Shadow of the Colossus be speedrun.
I think it
What's that?
was.
I wanna go
'cause-
see
Could
it.
find it.
I wanna see it. I wanna see how long it took specifically. That's all. That's just all I wanna
man,
see.
that-
I'll
Um,
check for you.
That and
Odds are-
Dragon Quest VIII. Those 2 games.
Nice. Odds are, almost every single video game was speedrun somewhere throughout this history. Odds are.
Okay.
Shadow of the Colossus,
Say
1
ever.
hour 28 minutes.
1 hour 28 minutes.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
took
I
me-
figured it wasn't
that game
gonna be
took me, like-
anything under an hour. I know
That
there's
game-
no way.
That game took me like 10 hours to beat.
Yeah. What about Dragon Quest VIII?
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, another long game, dude.
Oh, I
Why
thought
not?
Dragon. That's probably why it's not working.
It's funny because we can even think of like JRPGs like Final Fantasy and the Tales games. As much as we think they're hard because we need to level grind and all that stuff, people are speedrunning. Even right now, odds are somebody's speedrunning Final Fantasy like 10 right now, for all we
Wait.
know.
Of course.
Which one?
8.
Eight Dragon Quest.
There's like no 8. Is there like a name for it? Or?
It might be in Roman numerals. That's why. So it's Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
VIII.
VIII.
I do not see it. Hold on.
It's a lot of eyes.
Yeah, it is.
I.
And so, it's funny because the thing I like what you said, Bushido, about like there are all these different. Oh well, after you then. What's the record?
How long do you think it is?
2
how long do I-
hours.
I think it is. Yeah, I would think it'd be like at least 3 hours.
It's 11 hours, 46
Nice.
minutes.
11 hours.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
Real
Is it
time.
really that long of a game?
do you? Okay. So I was playing the game, and when I looked up online where I was at in the game, I had spent so long, most of which was trying to hunt metal slimes, honestly. But I had spent 200 hours, and when I looked into it, it was like, you're about 75% of the way through the game. I was like, no, John. And I reached this point where every enemy was a mini boss. The common enemies were mini bosses, and I was just like, nope. Nope, I'm gonna leave this alone for now. It is a ridiculously long game. Like, even if I don't think you could even skip the cutscenes too. But it's really, and everything is super far away. So imagine like Skyrim with no fast traveling whatsoever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wait, if you're playing on 3DS, only 8 hours.
I heard they made the game much better for 3DS, and actually, it's gonna be the last game I get for 3DS. I'm getting the Switch.
That's quite funny.
Now there was another question that I wanted to ask, and I lost it.
You should like write them down.
That's just, ugh, God.
Something that I wanted to bring up when it comes to speedrunning is I also find it very interesting how, back to what Bushido was saying, where a lot of people like to find these like gaps or find these glitches in the game system or something like that, so they can just try to like squeeze their way through it, like going through walls, going through floors, soaring, and basically breaking it just so you can get to the end and all that stuff. I just also find how that's so interesting, how people they're not computer programmers, they're not developers or anything like that, but they're just able to just locate these things. And I don't know whether they spend all this time on it or they do research on it, but it's just still, it always just fascinates me how all of these people are, when it comes to speedrunning, are able to just find these things. Like whenever I'm watching you, Zombie, play speedrunning BioShock, I'm always like, how did you know about that? That is so surprising, where all these people are just able to just figure this out, or either just know about it and then able to apply it into their gameplay.
Yeah, most skips actually in speedrunning are found by mistake. Like you go to any speedrun, if you find out where like they're all from, at least a couple from every single
oh
will be a
shoot,
mistake.
and then they just post it online and now everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like they'll do it, and then they'll try to repeat it, and if they can repeat it, then it's something that you can use. So as long as it's repeatable, then it's something you can throw out there, and that's what people do. And they'll record it the second time around. They'll be like, "This is exactly what I did," and someone will figure out exactly how it goes. And especially if it's a game for PC, and it's using a common engine, people will sit there and like literally dissect what you did to figure it out. Because if you could do that one thing, that could lead to other exploits being found later on, where it's just like, oh look, this happened because of the angle that these walls converge at. So I wonder if there's any other spots like this in the game. There's like 3 other spots in the game. It's like, okay, cool, I can do this 3 other times, and now that's 20 to 30% of the game I just skipped over.
Right.
And they just keep doing stuff like that. Or you could be like my friends who are like, I wonder if I could just drive up this sheer cliff. And they try it, and it just works. And they're just like, okay, cool, whatever. We just skipped 40% of traveling across the map, and now we can beat the game in like an hour and a half or something like that. Or just I wonder if this will work if I accidentally do this, and it just works. And we're like, okay, sure, why not, whatever. Yeah.
All right, I found my question.
Okay.
Yes, this has been a bad day for me. But what separates BioShock 1 from all the other BioShocks, in your opinion, when it comes to speedrunning?
Oh boy, I can put some input into that as well, but you first, of course.
As far as for the games in general, I separate 1 and 2, and then Infinite's like more of a separate game. Just they changed so much about it. But as far as the speedrun, I would actually group 1 and 3, Infinite, more closely together than 2. Because in 1, there's a bunch of glitches, bunch of stuff. And in Infinite, there's a lot of glitches and like ways you can do things. Where 2, it's more of just run through it as quick as you can.
Exactly.
And like the big thing about 2 in that speedrun, you know, the drill dash you just drill dash. It's just optimizing drill dashes and getting your fuel. That's like all the 2 speedrunners.
That's it. Yeah.
Along with a couple frame perfect tricks that aren't too bad to do.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It was, and that was actually going to lead into my next point that I would like to ask everybody. Actually, when it comes to speed running, when it comes in terms of watching, do you guys find speed runs? What do you find to be more entertaining? Do you guys like it where the speed running is they glitch through it and they dissect it, and it's always like weird and everything, and then they get to the end? Or do you guys like the ones where you cannot really glitch through it and then you just need to watch them just play through it as fast as they can, and it just shows how good they really are, or it shows you how well they know the mechanics and
I like the legitimacy of playing the game without trying to glitch through the game, because it's obvious when you glitch through the game, it's a shortcut. And I believe that if you legitimately play it through
They look insane though.
So yeah, I get where you're going with that one. I agree for the most part, except for one game in particular. There's one game in particular where you can glitch it out, and it looks absolutely hilarious. Like everything you do is just absolutely hilarious about this game, and it is Dark Souls. And the Dark Souls speedruns, the first one, the Dark Souls speedruns are absolutely hilarious to watch. Especially the glitchy ones where somebody's just like running up to a rock wall and you're like, what is he gonna do? Combat rolls under the rock wall. And it's just like you're looking at it, you're just like, what just happened there? And it's literally like he rolls, and because of the angle the floor hits the wall, he like literally goes under the wall, pops out the other side, runs across the map, and then just leaves the next area and just skips 80% of the game just doing that.
One thing that I think is really funny in speedruns, where with if you can jump somewhere you're not supposed to be, and like you don't even do a glitch or anything, you actually just, the programmers did a bad job, and you literally just normal jump out of bounds. Like, I always think that's really
that's
funny.
always happened to me, and I walk around, I'm like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here, and I'll walk aimlessly, and I'll hit an invisible wall, and I'll go, wait, yeah, I'm definitely not supposed to be here. I look around, there's nothing there, no enemies spawn, no items, no nothing. There's no graphics rendering, and I'm just like, definitely not supposed to be here. I walk around for a little bit, my character falls to the ground and randomly dies. I'm like, I wasn't supposed to be there.
Not supposed to be there.
So that was my cousin who yelled at the background like that, and he was like, tool assisted runs suck, which I totally agree. Like when you use like tools to help you like find glitches or cheats that just get you there, but it's not legitimate. I really do like legitimate runs. Like when I watched the I saw the Ocarina of Time run, and like there's many glitches in Ocarina of Time, if you guys know. Like it's ridiculously glitched. But someone who can play through that without glitching, it's just really good, because I can tell that they want to keep the game authentic without using the glitches to beat the game. So that leads up to another question, but I don't know if you guys are finished with this question.
No,
Oh.
All right,
That's
so
one thing about tool-assisted speedruns.
yeah,
If you've ever seen Portal speedrun, how they like go under the floor and stuff. If you've ever seen a tool-assisted speedrun of Portal, you just like boom, shoot, look, like in like fractions of seconds. It looks so cool. Like, and for half the time I saw it, I'm like, how is this guy doing this? And then I realized it was tool-assisted. I'm like, ah.
No, but I can see it being fun, but it's not legitimate though. Could you really call that? Could you really call that a speedrun?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just think it looks so cool.
No, it does.
Some of
So the other question that I was leading up to is
oh wait, for me, my personal favorite is I do like the glitchless runs a little bit more, because personally for me, I think it's one of those ones where you just watch it and it's just amazing to see how much knowledge that the player knows about it, knows about the mechanics, knows about the controls, and just knows how to play it. Because it's interesting to, like, for AGDQ and SGDQ, as much as I can say, oh yeah, I know a lot about I know a lot about, Resident Evil and all that other stuff, and I can beat it pretty fast. It's just interesting to see all these other Resident Evil speedrunners just use the game mechanics and not glitch anything and just get through it even faster. And I'm like, oh, that is really cool. And I always just have a thing for that. And personally, I really like the ones where you're able to glitch through it and all that other stuff. That's really cool because it always amazes me to see what you can do with this video game and all that. But for me, I'm a bigger fan of the old-fashioned way of just using everything the game gives you and just getting from point A to point B.
Yeah, I think of those instead of speed running, it's just high efficiency runs. Like you're going through the game as efficiently and quickly as possible, but not necessarily speeding through it, exploiting it, or anything like that. You're legitimately just wiping out everything.
One thing I will say about that, from a speedrunner's point of view, if you do like this normal speedrun for a game, and then you do the glitchless run as well, it's so boring. Like you have to watch these cutscenes and do these fights that are just tedious. Like,
I will skip the cutscenes every single time, and yeah, there are the tedious fights that you're just like, why am I doing this? You just have to deal with nonsense usually. But that's how some people are.
But for my opinion on it, for me, it's like, it depends on what game I'm watching. Like, if it's a game I already know, then obviously I would say more of the glitching, because I feel like that would be 10 times more interesting to me. And not only like that, but if it's a game that I personally do know, it gives me a chance to know some of the glitches I might have missed myself. Some of the things that I hadn't seen that I like just completely overlooked, So for me, that's really interesting, especially if I already know the game. I'm like, oh my god, there's a glitch spot right there. That's freaking amazing. I'm gonna try that, So to me, it's more of whether or not I'm familiar with the game. If I'm not familiar with the game, I personally would rather see the person run through it, because I think that would be like more appropriate for someone who hasn't really seen the game. Just seeing a quick run through it sounds, I don't know, just right to me. But like I said though, for games that I already have seen, I already know, it would be boring to watch the whole thing. I would rather just see the person glitching the game out and getting through it quicker with the glitches. But yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Cool.
See, I had a question. I forgot again. I'm forgetful today. This is the worst day forgetful day.
I think it's because your hair is up. Just gotta.
I think
loosen
so.
it up.
I think I gotta let it go, but I don't want to scare zombie.
Yeah.
It already happened already.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a question, and this is a question for everyone. So, as much as we like to see this speed running community just continually grow, and then, as you mentioned earlier, Zombie, how last year's AGDQ, the amount of money that they made was just like superior and just like really, really fascinating. My question to you guys is, do you think with speedrunning and everything, do you really think it could get like maybe on the not really on the same level as esports, but do you think we will have something like that, where more than just charity events, more than just, events where people are doing it and then it's one right after another and all that? Do you think it'll get any more like it's going to be its own separate thing, if you know what I'm saying?
Bro. If freaking fighting games are on ESPN and League of Legends is being showed on like Fox and like CS:GO is like on TNT, of course I see that happening. There's a huge community on it, right? I'm pretty sure there's a huge community, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna end up being a lot of people that are gonna push for it to become something more than just caught on Twitch or on like
YouTube
games
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I do see it becoming something more than just a internet sensation, I guess. Will it happen soon? I hope so. Like I said, like we just recently, like Evil was on ESPN. That was like, who would have pictured that happening? Who would have pictured like Street Fighter on ESPN? No one. Like it's happening, guys. It's happening. Esports it's being covered on ESPN, and it's speedrunning's competitive. You could put two gamers to play against each other trying to speedrun a game of
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, you could have that running at the same time. To make it even 10
And that has actually happened for AGDQ, SGDQ. People speed racing Mega Man X and Super Metroid and such.
Yeah, I see it happening. The games are popular. There's a lot of games that are like old school games that are so popular that I'm pretty sure you put it on ESPN and you'll be like, oh my gosh. Some random person will be like, oh my gosh, I remember playing this game back when I was like in high school or something. So it was such a fun game. I remember how fun it was. Like I remember beating it this time. How much did these guys can beat it on? Like it'll catch, dude.
Definitely, I 100%.
Zombie, what do you think?
Actually, as of right now, there's no way. Like, if it continues to grow at the rate it's growing, I don't think that it has a chance. Because esports, I love esports. I could talk about that for hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever have an esports episode, invite me back. No, I'm kidding. But
maybe
esports,
we'll see.
Huge, millions and millions of people watch. Speedrunning is a fraction of that, and it's all divided into different games.
I was about to say that because when it comes to like for you, AJ, talking about fighting games and all that stuff, that is actually a genre where I'm pretty sure there are far more fighting game players than speed runners, if you know what I mean. And so fighting game is just like a genre that a lot of people just like to play and love to watch all that. So as much as we can sit here and say, I love watching AGDQ, look how much money it has gathered and all that stuff. So just take that and compare it to Evo. Like, how does that work? You know what I mean? So
but
it's one of those.
Here's the thing. Like you said, it's a genre. But what if you speedrun? Like, you make it so, like, okay, in this episode of we're speedrunning this damn game, we're going to play platformers. You know, a lot of people that love and enjoy platformers are going to go watch platformers. Oh, and this episode of we're playing games this damn quickly, we're going to do FPSs. You're going to have your people who are going to watch FPSs. And, again, it's all categorized because, again, they all fall into the same genre. FPS, RTSs, you know, platformers, action adventures, whatever. People are they're gonna watch it. It's not like again, the fighting game community is one community. The MOBA community, like Dota and freaking League of Legends, they're gonna watch that. But at the same time, you have a community of people who are gonna watch. I believe they're gonna watch. If you're advertising, okay. Zombie's gonna play BioShock. If you guys want to see him play BioShock, this is the channel to watch it on, and it's gonna happen. I really do believe it because there's so many games, there's so many entry. There's people who are gonna be like, "Ooh, I remember playing this game back when I was younger. Let's watch this."
Yeah,
that is true.
I will say that is true. But the reason that the esports right now are just becoming on TV and so much is because all the advertisers, all the big companies like the Lakers, all them, a lot of owners are buying in for the advertising.
There
is becoming so popular with the advertisers because how huge it is. 2015 League of Legends final got more views than the NBA or NHL final.
That is ridiculous.
Take all the viewers. Like, if speedrunning were to become popular, I agree with you. Like, for those reasons, it would be good. But it's never gonna, in my opinion, get to that insane level.
Oh, of course.
That's
it's
never
gonna match up to that.
I mean,
I think AJ's point was more along the lines of, will it get popularity to the point where it might end up on television,
on TV,
or they might end up like,
agree.
hey, we're having like a global event of speedrunning for everyone globally to get involved and stuff like that. If there's ever going to get to that kind of a point.
I'm not going to say it's bigger than esports, of course not, because you're going to
esports is getting bigger than real sports. You can't compare anything to esports now. Pretty soon it's just going to be like, so well, what country you represent in esports in your esports game? Where you're just gonna have like esports T-shirts? No
Oh,
one's gonna
man.
You're gonna
wear
have a
sporting
have a-
shirts.
You're gonna have a World Cup of esports, bro. It's gonna happen.
You're gonna walk down the
That'd
street
be
in
really
New
cool.
York, and
Right.
for once,
Right.
everyone's gonna have like their favorite league team instead of just the New York Yankees hat.
I saw a guy with a TSM jacket on today.
Oh,
I was
oh my
waiting
God.
for my food. I was like waiting. Saw a guy walk up, TSM jacket.
Every time I wear
nice.
my Timo shirt, everybody's like, "I like that shirt. That's a cool shirt, man. Yeah, I like that shirt." I'm just like, people know what League of Legends is, and I forget that it's popular because
Yeah.
when I played it, it was like all the way in the beta stage, and it was really an awful game.
Just remember, like, I've seen people wear like C9.
Yeah.
Friggin' like shirts
And
like that,
it's
dude.
it's a matter of time till like the speedrunners get popular enough till like you start regularly seeing people talk about it or watch it or something like that, or someone has a shirt from like a bigger speedrunner or something along those lines.
Who knows? You're gonna end up seeing like on TV celebrities speedrunning.
That'd be really
Again.
funny.
But
I would watch that.
I would watch that.
Me too. I'm glad you reminded.
I want to see it like see like bloopers though of like how bad some of them can be.
Dude, like you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people like I watch wrestling, and like one of the biggest video game channels on YouTube is from a wrestler, and it's hilarious because like he goes to like these fighting game tournaments. He's going to Evo this year. It's gonna be hilarious. He's gonna get destroyed, but but he has a huge following. His channel has a huge following, and it's just him and a whole bunch of wrestlers playing video games, and like they're celebrities in sense. They're like B level celebrities, but they're still celebrities. Like they walk down the street, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's John Cena. Like you're gonna recognize John Cena if he walks. If he walks. Like the dude is famous as hell,
Yeah.
and like so like things like that. Like you're gonna see like and John Cena's a gamer too. Like his computer build is ridiculous.
And that's another thing that differentiates between the esports and the speedrunning, because I was about to mention, like, Zombie, you are absolutely right, and you reminded me about the one thing that esports have that that speedrunning doesn't have is the marketing. There is a marketing for it, and just the numbers by itself should be like efficient enough to where esports could be more and it could be more like televised than speedrunning, because if we think about it, let's be honest now, even today, just here, we can say, oh yeah, Zombie is a speedrunner, I'm a speedrunner-ish, and then, AJ likes to do it. But if we were to compare it to like the number, how many gamers there are and how many speedrunners there are, you know what I mean? And so it's like that, where, and in today's world where a lot of people want that quick access, all that quick and easy entertainment and all that, they're going to pick whatever is the most popular, whatever is the most easily accessible and all that. And so, but if in your defense, AJ, yeah, I do agree that it is popular. Of course, I mean, look at it now. Look at what's happening and look what it's turning into. But will it happen anytime soon? I don't think so. But that doesn't mean I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Just if you look at how many followers there are on Games Done Quickly, it's up to like 975,000.
Yeah, of course.
And that's just people who are like, oh, I want to click follow on it. I don't click follow on anything, because I'm a bum. I admit it, but but I'm pretty sure there's many people like me who actually check up on the channel and be like, ooh, this is interesting, and just sit there and look.
Yeah.
So like, dude, there's a lot of people with interest on that channel, and it gets a lot of views. It has like 192 million views. That's a lot of people.
And I will say, if like the quickest, I guess you could say, way that I could see that speedrunning being on TV is if there's like an ESPN gaming gets created or something. It's focused on esports, and they do like a special for a GDQ event, like a huge charity, like they'll market it, this huge charity thing.
Of course, exposure. the exposure. It needs an exposure. It's not exposed to everyone yet. It's exposed to the people that are on Twitch, but not many people outside of Twitch know that there's a game.
And that's exactly why ESPN and a lot of these other channels are focusing on esports now, and they're trying to pull it in. They're seeing how Twitch is destroying them in viewer numbers, and Twitch is destroying them in viewing hours. Twitch is destroying them in profit. And they're just like, why the heck does everyone love this? All these people ever do is play video games and talk about video games. Why is it that people like this kind of stuff? And then they tried doing it themselves. They're trying to do it themselves along with their regular programming, so it doesn't like push anyone away. It kind of pulls everyone in. That's the reason why they're mixing it in. That's the reason why they probably won't do a gaming one strictly. And then on top of that, that's also the reason why they were like, okay, we have to really push for, I think it was baseball is now an esport too. It was one of the sporting games. Which one? Does anyone remember which one was it?
Rocket League?
No, it was one of the athletic games, like one of the actual
Madden.
athletic games.
I'm assuming you're talking about Madden, I guess. I don't know.
I think it was like one of the actual athletic games that's based off actual athletics.
The
basketball, okay.
The
basketball.
So NBA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2K,
okay,
2K,
NBA.
2K,
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
2K.
they're making
was
it
like-
into an esports league where it's an actual
Sports
competition and everything like that. Yeah.
Rocket League?
No.
No. All right, so the last question. We're going to ask the last question, guys, for Zombie. And for everyone, what do you guys see in the future for speedrunning?
What do I see?
Yeah.
I personally just
Someone
see
else
it
go
getting-
first.
I personally just see it getting bigger and bigger, and basically just gathering more of a following, and hopefully sooner or later it can become more than that. But as of right now, I just see it just getting bigger and bigger, and maybe AGDQ, SGDQ is going to be more than just, a channel that you can follow up on Twitch and on its main website and all that. So hopefully that's what I see, and that's also what I am hoping for to actually happen.
The quiet is very
No, I was just thinking of like how to explain this, but like, has anyone ever played the game No Time to Explain?
Yes.
Alright, so I think at some point in time there's just gonna be a humongous surge of those. Right now the surge is in survival games. Survival, was it survival, open world, free roaming,
Yeah.
those type of games. Right now the surge is in that. At some point in time it's going to be games like No Time to Explain, where it's quick pace. It's meant to be speed run, whatever. You're meant to speed run through the game. You're meant to speed run through these games and like play them really quickly, or else you just lose, which if you're somebody who's speed running and you screw up really badly, you're going to want to go back and like try to just do it again or something along those lines, or try to recover from it. But like games like No Time to Explain just don't allow for that. You just have to do it again, and they're absolutely hilarious at the same time, because literally the game starts off with, I think it's yourself from the future goes, quick, you have to come with me, there's no time to explain, and then a whole bunch of nonsense starts happening. You have no idea what's going on. You don't find out what the plot is until the end of the game, because there's not, I guess like when they first made the game, they weren't really sure if they were going to have a plot. And I guess when they finished developing the game and it was out of early access, they were like, let's make a story. But it's a hilarious game. Zombie, you should check
That's
it out
awesome.
if you get a chance.
What about you, Goth? What do you think?
Well, I definitely think like it would be. I think for the future, it's definitely gonna be more trending. Like I feel like everyone's gonna want to try speedrunning at some point, just because the interest in it is, it's definitely rising. Like more people are starting to notice it. More people are starting to get what speedrunning is about, and I think the more that keeps happening, the more it keeps spreading to everyone else. More people will be more interested in actually trying it out themselves and seeing how good they can be at it. So that's pretty much my more popularity, more trending.
I believe that speedrunning is going to be something where we're not only going to find out about it in the Guinness Book of World Records, because that was my first legit exposure to speedrunning when I found out that that dude had beat Mario in like 5 minutes, I guess, which was insane. And that was my first exposure to it. That was my first legit exposure. It's going to be more than that. You're gonna see people like searching, how fast was this game beaten, or how fast was this game beaten, and you're gonna see a lot of people that probably never speedrun game. They're gonna catch interest to it and be like, I'm pretty sure I could break the record for this game, or I'm pretty sure I could do it for this game. And you're going to see a lot of people do it more often because there's just so many games. Like, look, Mario 64, that's one of the games that I've seen speedrun a lot. Look at that amazing glitch.
It's actually really annoying to get.
But
I mean, here it makes it look easy, but it's really annoying.
But it's one of those, it's just a growing phenomenon. I know it's been around for a long time, but so was esports. Esports has been around for a long time, guys.
Shoutcasting has been around since the 90s, I think it is.
Yeah. So, guys, it's all growing. It's growing, and people are catching on to it. And there's a market behind it, and there's a lot of people that are actually backing it up now.
And even the developers are making their games to back up speedrunning right now, actually.
Yeah. And what about you, Zombie? You close this out.
I think it's obviously going to keep growing as events like ESA, GDQ, the big events just keep getting bigger and bigger. A lot of people who speedrun, like, they get into it, like their first exposure to it is from those big events. I know that's how it was for me. I know a lot of other people who discovered speedrunning through events like that. So I think as just those events get bigger and bigger, more people will come in. So I do think it's going to keep growing. I can't see it exploding like esports has.
Oh, of course not.
Maybe not even as big as esports, but like a similar kind of explosion. But I do think it's going to keep growing and growing.
I believe it's going to show. Like I said, I think it's going to end up on TV. Of course, esports has so much market behind it that, you know, you have professional teams backing it. You have Bayern Munich behind, like, League of Legends teams.
Shaquille O'Neal, Derek Jeter.
You have all these guys pushing it, but you're going to have celebrities that are intrigued by the speedrunning, and they're going to push it as well. I guarantee that. And so, before we usually end this podcast, we always do one thing that I always do. And Brandon's already setting it up. I know it. My anime of the week.
There it is.
I am a huge fan of anime. I am a nerd. Leave me alone.
I'm gonna leave it like that instead.
I'm one of the geekiest guys here, and this week's anime of the week has been. I rewatched it, and it was quite cool. I don't think.
There.
I can't let you do that, AJ. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I fixed it.
I rewatched it, and it was quite entertaining. I enjoyed it. And I don't think I did it before, so Shokugeki no Soma. And before someone says, what the hell is that?
I was just gonna go, what the
Wasn't that Food Wars? Wasn't that
Food Wars? Food Wars Soma.
Thank you.
And for anyone who likes food...
It's Foodgasm the anime.
Wait.
It's Foodgasm.
It's Foodgasm the anime. That's basically what it is.
Meaning, if someone eats the food, they end up in like a
They have
utopia.
a Foodgasm.
They end up in a utopia where they're completely butt naked running down a dandelion garden, just enjoying this food while butt naked. And it's really unique. It's a really funny anime. I loved it. And I think it's coming back on this year in the summer, so I can't wait till season 3. But there's 2 seasons of it, and it's really entertaining. If you guys like food and anime and comedy and your etchiness, this is definitely your anime. It's really fun. I recommend it. And with that, anything else to say, guys?
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for stopping by,
Yeah,
dude.
thank you.
Pleasure having you.
No,
Yeah, it
it's-
was always a pleasure, and thank you, Zombie. Thank you. You offered so much insight, and it's just great because speedrunning has become, it's something more than just a hobby nowadays. Back in the day, it was just like a thing where people just used to do it, and now it's become like people purchase specific video games and specific titles and specific versions specifically for speedrunning, and even to the point where developers are now developing games specifically for speedrunning and being influenced by it. Specific.
You said it quite a bit, so I had to say it one more time.
So I'd say on that note, maybe if you haven't already, try speedrunning. You never know, you might actually like it. It might become a thing for you.
Now,
Yeah,
everyone,
a lot of.
finish, please. Finish, please.
Yeah. If you want to join speedrunning, a lot of communities are very open. There are some, obviously, you have assholes in every
Yeah,
community.
you
Some
have
communities
elitists everywhere.
Some communities are more open than others. A lot of them are very open and willing to help new people, so give it a try.
Yeah, no, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people that are willing to help. That's one thing I've seen. That's one thing I've seen a lot in the speedrun community. It's one of the more one of the more embracing ones.
Very
I've seen.
supportive. Yeah.
Yes, they're very supportive. So that's a huge plus. So put your plugins right now. If you guys want to see what speedrunning's all about, you guys can follow.
KPCZombie.
Oh, that was my cue.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
www.twitch.tv/KPCZombie.
His name's over his head. The thing.
His
Yeah.
the name is over his head. Yes, up there. And guys, I know I haven't been on streaming. I'm off for the next 3 weeks.
Tisk, AJ.
I know. Off for the next 3 weeks. I'm doing really important things right now, and but once I come back, I will get on Mass Effect Andromeda. That is definitely the game that I will be playing. So at Bajozutsu, it's www.twitch.tv/Bajozutsu. If you guys want to know what my name actually means, you guys can definitely check my channel out.
And so, thank you guys so much for sticking around and joining us along with KPCZombie and talking about speed running and speed runners. It's such a amazing pleasure, and it turned into something great, and we couldn't have completed it without KPCZombie. So, thank you, Zombie, for all that for being
I
here.
usually sing "Glorious" when we leave. I think I'm not going to do it today.
Oh, before we do that, I won't be around for the next show, so it'll be fun to see how you guys do. But for everyone who wants to know, I'll be at PAX East, so that's gonna be a whole lot of fun. I'm gonna be there. I'm definitely gonna be recording, taking lots of pictures, and be posting stuff on social networks. So if you guys want to find out what's happening there, I'm going to be doing a lot of that. I'll put together videos too, so everybody can watch that. And if I get any keys for anything or anything like that, I'll be streaming, because my break is immediately after PAX East. I'll be streaming over the course of my break anything cool or new I find.
When is PAX East?
The 2 weeks from now, so what is it, the 10th?
The weekend
Yeah.
of March 10th.
The 10th of March to the 12th.
Quick question: are we doing a podcast next week?
Yeah.
Up to whoever's here. Yeah. I'm all for it though.
All right. So, thank you guys so much for sticking around. You guys are always wonderful. And once again, I am Tark201.
I think you 1129.
Bushido X Wolf.
I am El Bajozutsu, and thank you.
KPCZombie.
Yes.
And with that note, glorious! I will give in.
I'm gonna try to cut this off faster now, just so save everybody that pain from that little snippet right there. I don't know.
All right. So, thank you guys so much once again, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you.
Well, Blue's out.